Sarah Feingold is a 2005 graduate of Syracuse University College of Law. She's currently general counsel of Etsy Incorporated at Etsy.com, an online venue to buy and sell all things handmade, vintage, and supplies. In addition to practicing law, Sarah writes and lectures on intellectual property rights and designs her own line of jewelry. Sarah, can you tell us how you got your job at Etsy?
Sure thing, Joel. Well, I like to say that I was born an artist, and I've been making jewelry since I was around 12 years old. I even did it while I was at SULAA School. And I've always really been interested in intellectual property rights of artists. And so that's really what drove me to go to law school. And I know you're saying, how did you get your job? Like, you're pretty much backing the whole thing up. I think starting out from a very young age, I always knew that I wanted a job where I was helping artists. And so after I graduated law school, I got a regular job in a law firm, in a mid-sized firm in Rochester, New York. And Etsy came along, ETSY.com, and I started selling my jewelry on it. And I realized that I was in a specific position where I was an artist myself. I knew intellectual property rights, and I thought that I would make a great in-house counsel. So I reached out to the customer support staff and I said, listen, if you need someone to come in and do a seminar or something like that, I'd love to work with you guys. And I heard back immediately, and they said, we're not really interested in the seminar, but we do have some issues that go on here every once in a while, and our CEO would love to talk to you. So I spoke with the CEO, and after I hung up the phone, I realized that I really wanted to work for this company. I wasn't enjoying the work that I was doing at a regular law firm. And I basically wrote to the CEO and I said, you need an in-house counsel. You need it to be me. I am flying from Rochester to New York City for an interview next week. And I bought the plane ticket. And believe it or not, he said, okay. And we met and he hired me on the spot. I sold all my worldly belongings. I moved to Brooklyn. And I've been at Etsy over 4 years right now. And it's been a wild ride. I have to admit that there are times that I didn't know exactly what I was doing, but I'm never afraid to reach out to friends or colleagues or strangers and pick their brains or utilize outside counsel.
So what kind of career advice would you give somebody who's recently graduating and who's thinking about trying to get a job in a field like yours, thinking outside the box to find a legal job?
Right. Well, I have to say, there wasn't a job description when I, quote-unquote, applied for my job, when I basically told them that they had to hire me to be in-house. So I thought creatively, and I basically put myself out there. So I think you have to be creative about what you want to do. And also, I think another thing that you can see from my story is I was mobile. I was in Rochester, New York, and I definitely was able to move, and a lot of people might have reasons why they can't be as mobile. But if you can be mobile and you can move around, that's always a benefit. And another thing that I think that I did that I would suggest other people do is I became an expert. I decided from a young age that my niche market was going to be, I was going to be a lawyer for artists. And I was doing a lot to try to get to brand myself and put myself out there so that I would accomplish this goal. For example, I wrote and I still write articles about intellectual property rights of artists. I speak to artist groups. While I was in law school, I did an independent study about concerning intellectual property, and I wrote an ebook that I actually sell on my Etsy site. And I also I did all these things for free. I know a lot of people think, oh, well, if I'm going to put in all this work, I want to be paid for it. I have to say, by doing things for free, I've been paid back a number of times. I published an article in 2007 for a really small bead magazine, and I still get emails about it. And I'm not writing like law review articles. I'm writing little tiny articles for like trade publications. Like I wrote an article for a bead magazine, and I reached out to them and said, I think that this would be something that you guys should publish, and they did. I also think that don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to tell people your goals, to write down your goals, no matter what it is. And ask for advice from people. Ask if anyone knows someone who's looking for inside counsel or for an attorney. If someone gives you advice, you don't have to take it. You can just smile and nod and thank them. Don't always look at job posts. I think, there will be a lot of people applying for the jobs. So think outside the box. If there's a job that you really like, you can absolutely apply to that job. But then maybe ask some of your friends or go on LinkedIn or Facebook and see if you know somebody who knows somebody who already works at the company who can get you an in. you have to try to differentiate yourself from the masses. I also think it's important as part of your brand. I have my own website. You can, blog or tweet. Just stick to it. Get a following. Like, show people that you are an expert. Sometimes dream jobs aren't on legal recruiting websites, so just don't be afraid. If you absolutely love a company and you can kind of picture a need that they have, make a statement. Like, try to make a case for yourself. You are a lawyer. You can make your own arguments about why that they could hire you. And think big picture, because sometimes they might think, oh well, lawyers are so expensive. If I hire someone in house, it's going to be really expensive. If you think big picture, eventually you'll be making more money. But if you start off maybe on the cheaper side, that could be better. I also say when you're networking, try to be the only one in the room who does what you do. I go to a lot of networking events, and sometimes I'm the only lawyer there. For example, I'm in the internet industry, so I'll go to tech events, and I'll talk to engineers, and I'll talk to designers. I'm the only lawyer in the room, and if I were to maybe want to be a solo practitioner one of these days, then they're my clients right there. And no other lawyer is going to these tech events. So if you are interested in helping a specific group of people, if that's your brand, go to where they are, and don't be afraid to just chit-chat everyone up. So I know it's a lot of information. That's just some of my advice.
Well, thank you very much, Sarah. Those were some really wise words.
Thanks.
And I want to thank you for chiming in for this podcast.
No problem. Take care.